Hello, my name is Justin Vorhies. I'm the head football coach at Cloverleaf High School. This video is for my ISSA Strength and Conditioning Certification course. Today I'll be working with Nate Klingon, a recently graduated athlete at Cloverleaf High School who is on his way to play football at Duquesne. He is going to be a defensive lineman, so his needs that we're working on today are for explosive movement, especially within the triple extension, the hips, the knees, the ankles, and pairing those together with some other movements. And also we're going to work on quick, short bursts of movement, things that he'll need to do to replicate and duplicate on the playing field. Today we're going to start with our warm-up, and then to get these explosive movements with the hips especially, we're going to do our rack squat, our rack pulls, and then we'll also do a push press. We're also going to do a rack bench, which is important for the punch, to deliver an explosive punch for the defensive lineman coming off the ball. And then we will also do some shoulder raises, multi-directional shoulder raises to build some stability in the shoulder joints. And we'll also do some lat pull downs to go the opposite way of our pushes that we're doing for today. Once we're done with this, we're going to get into some movement activities. We'll first start with two-step plyo jumps onto some padded plyo boxes. These are going to allow our athlete to, work those motor units for the explosive movements, using that stretch shortening cycle. And then we'll also move on to the speed hurdle drills, where these will also be some plyometric movements, and we'll pair those together with some multi-directional movements at the end. And then we'll also work on some 4 cone drills for our athlete to work on those quick bursts and sudden change of direction. Then when we're done with this, we'll take our athlete through a cool down and we will be finished. Thank you. Okay, so we're about to start our workout. We're starting with our warm-up here. We're going to start Nate on his jog halfway around the football field, about 200 yards to get loose. Go ahead, Nate. So Nate just finished his jog. We're going to start with a walking high knee for 10 yards. Go ahead, Nate. He's going to pull his knee up to his chest. He's also going to work on getting on his toes, on his other foot that's on the ground. Activate the calf muscles. We're stretching the glutes here. Now we're going to turn it around. We're going to lunge walk and twist. Okay, loosen up our core along with our legs here. Step, keep a neutral spine is important. Stretch our quads as well on this warm-up. Now we're going to do our walking toe touches. It's important that we cross the midline with our hands. Keep the leg straight, stretching our hamstring muscles. Now we're going to turn around, do our tin soldiers, kicking our legs straight up in the air, trying to keep that leg straight. Once again, stretching the hamstrings. And you'll notice we're moving from slow walking warm-ups to fast, quick movement warm-ups, to get those muscles loose and activated. Now we're going to do a lateral lunge walk to work on loosening the groin muscles. We'll do this each way, each direction, to work both sides of the body. Okay, so now we're going to warm up our hip flexor muscles. We're going to do out and ins. We're working our hip adductor muscles on this one. Okay, go ahead, Nate. Bring our hip up to the outside, bringing it back to the inside. Now we're going to go in and out, working our hip abductor muscles. Okay, so now we're going to get to our more fast-paced movements. We're going to do high knee run. Go ahead, go. Working our knees up to our chest. Okay, as much front action as we can here. And now we're going to work some high skips, where we're skipping as high as we can. Now we're going to karaoke both ways. It's important that we get our hip over top, our knee over top to loosen those hips up. And we're going to lateral shuffle both ways. And now we're going to get a 10-yard burst each way as we finish our warm-up. Okay, so for our last warm-up routine, we're going to do some hip thrusters with a punch into the bag and excite the hip, the core muscles here, and loosen up the shoulders. Okay, go ahead, Nate. It's important that we get our hips through, explode off our back of our feet, and hips forward. So our first lift today, we're going to do the rack squat. This is to develop the explosive movement, okay, with the hips, the knees, the ankles. We want our athlete to get under the bar, with the bar across their back, resting below the trap. Okay, on the deltoids, we should have good flexion of the knees, hips, and ankles. Okay, and we're develop a little bit of force on the bar so we're not jamming our back up into it. And the purpose of this, we want to drive our hips forward, keep our feet flat on the ground. And ideally, when we go about 4 sets of 4 here, we want to have about 80% of our normal squat max. Okay, this is going to allow us for a strong explosive movement. Okay, go ahead, Nate. And bring our hips through. Good. We want to reset each time at the bottom, not bounce the weight off. So next lift that we're going to perform is our rack bench press. Once again, we'll be doing 4 sets of 4 here. Should have about 80% of our max on once again, and we're delivering the punch here. It's important for defensive linemen, offensive linemen. A quick explosive movement. Arms should be at about a 90-degree angle. Once again, we want to apply force to the bar so we're not jamming it. And each lift is going to be its own individual explosion off the rack. Go ahead, Nate. The speed of the bar is key on this lift. We don't want the bar moving up and slow. We want it to be quick and forceful. Okay, so the next lift we're going to perform are our rack pulls. This is basically the second pull in the power clean or power snatch phase, power snatch lift. So we're going to have our athlete address the bar, toes should be under it, walk in. Okay, the bar should be just above their knees as they get in their stance. Their hips should be back, feet flat on the ground, good ankle flexion, knee flexion. Want a neutral position with the spine. Okay, arms straight, there should be no slack in the arms. And we're working that, driving our hips forward and our shoulders back. Okay, with the explosive movement each time. Once again, 4 sets of 4 on this. Go ahead, Nate. Good. Drive our hips through the lift and our shoulders back. Okay, so the next lift we're going to perform is a push press. This is an auxiliary lift for us. This will be 2 sets of 10 with this workout. When we do this, we want to have our hands just outside our shoulders, underneath the bar, right at about our clavicles, and we're going to drop our hips back as if we were getting in a squat motion, and we're going to do a partial squat and explode up and push the bar up. We're recruiting multiple motor units here, multiple movements, and we're using the stretch cycle or stretch shortening cycle to deliver as much force as possible with this lift. On our hips going back and exploding up. Hips back and a sudden explosion forward and up. Our next lift, 2 sets of 10, once again, are going to be our lat pull downs. This is to counter the pushes that we've been doing today. We're going to work the latissimus dorsi muscles here. Okay, you can go ahead, Nate, you can start. It's important that we stay firmly seated on the bench, and we don't use any other momentum except for our arms as we pull the bar down and towards our chest, trying to squeeze our back muscles, our lat muscles together as we pull the bar down towards our chest. So we're going to do our multi-directional shoulder raises. Nate's going to start with this. We're going to keep our hands pronated. Go ahead, Nate. We're going to lift out, bring the weight in, bring it back down, bring it back up, out, and down. This is allowing us to work the shoulder stability, and the delts at the same time, with our rotator cuff as well. We do 2 sets of 10. 1 rep is when we go up, out, down, and up, in, and down. It's important that we maintain the height of flat plane as we cross at the top, at the peak. Now out to our movement and outdoor phase of our workout program. We're still going to keep with the hip explosion, the hip hinge explosion. We're going to do a 2-step plyo box jump, where we allow our athlete to take 2 steps into the jump, sinking their hips back, really working that stretch shortening cycle to deliver as much force as possible. So go ahead, Nate. Take 2 steps, and we want to stand up and do a full stand up at the top as well. Bringing our hips through, good. We want to make this transition from step to jump as smooth as possible to deliver as much force as possible. Good. Okay, so for our next plyo workout, we're going to work over the speed hurdles. We're going to have Nate 1-foot hop with his right foot over the hurdles, and then we're going to end this with a multi-directional movement. It's important that our linemen can burst in short spans and then redirect themselves as well. So he's going to sprint to this cone, and then I will give him a direction, either left or right, and he will have to break down, shuffle past that cone. Okay, go ahead, Nate, right foot. Good. Okay, so now we're gonna go off the opposite foot. Okay, go ahead, Nate. He's still gonna react to my direction that I give him at the cone. Okay, so we just did 2 sets of each on 1 leg, and now we're gonna do 2 sets with 2-foot hops, finishing it up the same way with the multi-directional movement. And we'll do another one. Okay, so next we're gonna do a 2-foot hop. We're gonna rotate our feet. Okay, we're gonna twist our hips, loosen our hips up, okay, while jumping, work our core here. And then this time he's gonna finish it off with a sprint to the cone and a shuffle, either direction I tell him, and then another 5-yard burst forward through the next cone. Okay, to keep working those short, quick movements. Go ahead, Nate. Okay, we wanna keep our shoulders square, rotating our hips as much as possible. Then we're gonna get another burst here. Good. Okay, we just did 2 sets, going rotating his hips towards his right. Now we're gonna rotate his hips towards his left for 2 sets. Finish it the same way we just did. Go ahead, Nate. Good. Okay, so now we're gonna work 4 cone drills. We have our cone set up 5 by 5 yards. And we want those short, quick movements with our defensive linemen. And the first one Nate's gonna do, he's gonna sprint around the first cone, sprint around the second, sprint around the third, and then get to this line as fast as possible and end it with a shuffle. We want to still create that lateral movement for our lineman, and it's important that he cuts off his outside foot, which would be his left foot here. Everything we do in these drills, we're going to come back and do the opposite way as well. Okay, go ahead, Nate. Start, good cut, outside foot, stick it, and then shuffle. Good. For our next cone drill, we're going to sprint 5 yards, get down, shuffle. When we shuffle, it's important that we keep our hips back, our chest up, okay, in a good athletic position. And then we're going to back pedal. We don't want to raise up on our back pedal. We want to stay down with our hips back. And once again, we'll end it with a shuffle, just like the other one. Go ahead, Nate. Stay low, hips back. Don't raise up, good. Shuffle pass, good. Our next cone drill that we're gonna do is going to be our angle drill. So Nate will sprint to the opposite angle cone over here, cutting off his right foot every time, which is important. He'll sprint over to this next cone, cut off his right foot, sprint over the last cone, cut, finish it with a shuffle. It's important that we get our hips open and cut off our outside feet here. Okay, ready, set, go. Cut, that hip open, sprint, good. Okay, so our next 4 cone drill, we're gonna work really the lateral movement, okay, keeping the hips back. Okay, we're gonna face the inside of the square, shuffle to the first cone, stick our right foot in the ground, rotate, shuffle facing out to the next cone. Okay, then we're gonna hit our left foot, drop, open up our hips, shuffle to the 4th cone, and then we're gonna hit our right foot in the ground, open up our hips, and come back, shuffling the other way. Go ahead, Nate, go. Stay low, sit back, good. Sit back, good balance, drop it, stick the right foot in, open, good. And we're gonna finish our agility drills with the star drill. Our athlete will start in the middle. Okay, he's going to go to the next cone, out, okay, cut off his outside foot, get back to the middle, cut off his outside foot, which would be his left foot there, get back to the outside here, which would be his right, constantly working back to the middle. This is our star drill. And once again, we like to finish everything off with a shuffle, okay, just to promote that lateral movement, okay, out of any athletic movement that we're doing. Ready, go. Good quick hard feet here, working those short bursts, and get down, sink, good, and finish with that shuffle, good. All right, so now we're entering the cool down session of our workout. We just had Nate jog for 15 minutes to kind of loosen up, cool down, allow his body to throttle down here. Okay, we're going to end the workout with a series of static stretches, to make sure we're elongating our joints, not tightening them up. First one we're going to take our right arm, take it across our chest. Then we'll do the same with our left hand. Our next one we're going to do is our right arm over top our head, and we will pull down with our opposite hand, making sure we loosen up our shoulder joint. We're going to do this for a count 10 to 15 seconds, and then we will switch to our left hand and do the same. Next, we're going to take both arms, straighten them out as much as possible, grab our hands behind our back, and we're going to raise our hands up as high as we can, okay, on our own. Loosen those shoulder muscles up. And then we will also have a partner or someone raise them up a little past what you can do naturally. The next stretch we're going to do is our hurdler stretch. We're going to take our right leg, put it out. We want our toes straight up in the air, left leg in. Okay, and we're going to stretch our hamstrings here. We want to try to keep a neutral spine, okay, and lean forward as far as we can without curving our back. And we will hold this 10 to 15 seconds, and we'll do the same with our left leg when we are done. Okay, so next we're going to stretch our quad. We're going to grab our foot just at the base of the foot. Okay, we want our knee to be, foot right to be behind our leg, not off to the side. And we're going to take our knee. We want our knee to stay on the midline of our body, so lower your knee a little bit, Nate. Then we want to bring it back, our quad back, as far as we can. And we're not trying to bring our foot past our leg, we're stretching our quad by bringing our knee back. And we'll do the same with our left leg. Okay, next we're gonna stretch our groin. Gonna keep both feet firmly planted on the ground flat. We don't wanna roll our ankle over. And we're gonna drive our hips to one side while bending our one knee, keeping our other leg straight. And we wanna push our hips to the one side as far as we can, stretching that groin out. So again, hold for 10 to 15 seconds and we'll do the same with the other side.